Only when there's gravity.
Sorry, only when there's gravity? So you're just going to beg the question of this non-force? Sorry, why on earth would you beg the question of this, gravity, when, number one, mass does not attract mass? That is 106 years out of date. And the current rhetoric of gravity, Einsteinian bending pseudo-force space, isn't a force.
If I put an aircraft in a ballistic trajectory...
Who gives a shit? We're talking about gas. I'm still yet to get an answer where you get the pressure. You said gas will press on me. I'm on the ground. Gas pressure. Where'd you get the gas pressure from?
Gravity.
No, gravity's not a force. Gravity is things going down. Gas does not do that. It's about the 8th time I've told you.
Gas does do that.
Oh, gas go down, go boom, boom. Like bouncy balls. So which gas is produced in the sky?
Which gas is produced in the sky?
Yeah, to go down.
I have no idea how...
None of them, you fucking clown.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
None of them are produced in the sky and coming down like fucking rain. Gas isn't produced in the sky. It's produced at ground level and makes its way up. Up, not down. It's coming out of the fucking ground and going up. It's not coming down like rain. It's not produced in the fucking clouds. Gas is going up from ground level, not down. Understand that it's coming out of the ground and going in all directions away from the ground where it was produced.
Agreed.
Right, so it isn't going down then, you fucking idiot. We haven't got pools of helium.
We have pools of helium at the...
No, we fucking don't!
Yes, we do.
Oh, really? Where do we find these pools, puddles of helium? Show me a picture of one.
Spread evenly over the... Well, it's invisible, so it's a bit hard to take...
Sorry, invisible pools of helium?
We have pools of helium...
Are you high right now?
Well, it's invisible.
You unlock this door with the key of
retardation.
Beyond it is another dimension. You're moving into a land of
bullshittery.
You've just crossed over into
the numpty zone.
You are so dumb. Damn.
And we're back. How's it going out there, guys? Happy New Year. Notice in title. If you'd like to support this channel, there's PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Now that everyone shut up in Discord because their levels were bouncing the whole time the intro was up, they got real quiet. Now, let's see what they got to say. It was probably instigated by Betty Van Velsen, wasn't it?
Instigated by what?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What did I instigate?
I don't know, but it was bouncing up and down like somebody was trying to get their 10,000 words out.
And it's usually the woman, right? Off to a good start. Happy New Year, people.
It's in the title.
Yeah, no, I told you to put it in the Oh,
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
I know that you hate that.
I can't.
Yeah, you can't stand it. I know.
Why don't you go say hi?
Explain it to the people why you hate it.
I just can't. I can't. I just can't stand it. Happy New Year. It's like Facebook happy birthdays. No one knows it's your birthday except mine. Usually people know that because it's the day after Christmas, so that you can readily remember. But, you know, for the most part, people's birthdays, you just don't remember them. right? But if you're on Facebook, then you get a reminder, hey,
You're
it's his birthday.
a content moderator, you won't know people's birthdays, but there's people out there that know specific birthdays of specific people.
Yeah, it's not really actually a birthday anyway, unless you go back. For me, you'd have to go back.
Anyway, Jehovah's Witness.
I don't know Jehovah's Witness, red herring fallacy.
Well, the
horseshit.
thing is, the Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate their birthdays.
I'm not. No, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. You didn't let me finish. So it's not actual the birthday, because the birthday would be 1963. You'd have to go all the way back there. That's when I actually was born. Now, is it
Yeah, and you don't even knew about it.
Now,
yourself.
is it the anniversary of my birthday? Yeah, but that has a little different twist than happy birthday. It should be happy anniversary of your birthday.
It's the day of your birth.
No, it's not. I wasn't born
The date.
a few days ago.
Here, it's the date. The date.
It's the date. Yeah, it's not the
date.
birthday.
It's the date of the day.
Oh,
the date.
brother.
Yeah, don't be so stupid.
It's not stupid. It's technically accurate.
Stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. I'll give you stupid. Well, stupid is as stupid does.
Yeah, exactly. And you are it.
Yeah, I'll
You
tell you
get
what.
the tome of it.
It's not what your sister said.
Well, my sister is dumber than.
Hey, let's keep this clean.
Something with hammers. Yeah. Well,
Why
I
would
like
you
to
come
say
on?
Happy New Year to people, and I say Happy New Year to Adam, and Happy New Year to Neil, and also to the audience. I hope this year will give things a little bit better
Oh, yeah.
than last year.
Yeah. Great. That's just wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. And maybe you have some
Thanks.
Patreons out there that might like to hear from you as well.
Yeah, they didn't hear from me over Christmas because I had some
Issues.
I had some family issues, so
Yeah, you have issues with the whole Christmas.
it wasn't a good ending to 2022 for me. But I tell people, listen, I get tired of listening to people. Yeah, everything's great. Have a great day. Yeah.
Oh my God, are you so negative?
It's not a negative thing. It's just a
You're
form.
like a dark cloud running over.
It's just a form letter that I'm
See,
sick
now
of.
it's going to thunder.
It's an empty form letter from people. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
No, I really mean it. It might be from you when you say it, but I really mean for people to have a really nice, blessed year. Is that so wrong to say? And to wish for people?
It just comes across as a form letter with most people.
Yeah, for you, because that's how you.
Well, we've already been over this. Let me say this again. It comes over as a form letter, and I just don't.
It comes over.
Yeah, just rumpus me then.
Over. Yeah, you find it to come over.
I'll put you on mute.
Oh, by all means, do.
Yeah, I'll
Might
put
be a nice, slow show.
Not with that. See, Adam was trying to get in here. You rumpused him.
No, you rumpused it.
I didn't rumpus
year,
Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
Happy New Year, guys.
Save us, Adam. Save us.
You missed it.
Misery.
You missed
Mr.
it.
Misery out there.
You missed it. He said Happy New Year. You didn't even get that because you're so wrapped up in your little friggin' spill. You didn't get his Happy New Year.
I am not wrapped up in anything. Might be your skirt.
You're wrapped up in my skirt. Please, pray tell.
You are wrapped in your skirt.
Yeah, there you go.
You need to open up your ears.
Playing Netherland word games. No, I heard inexactly.
Yeah, but you're wrong because it's taped.
We already started. We already began, Nathan. I've had enough out of you too.
You may begin in this year. Wow. All right. Well, over to you.
Over to you.
I agree with QE. Every year, people should say happy anniversary on the day you were born, not happy birthday. If they can't remember, then they shouldn't be saying happy anniversary.
All right. And what do
Only-
you do for New Year's then? Just skip over that?
I think he got mixed up with the anniversary and birthdays, but that's okay.
because you're not born. You weren't born December 26th this year.
Exactly.
You were born 1963.
What the hell? What the hell was that? Are you chewing potato chips while you're talking?
He got compressed and sped up.
He got compressed and sped up.
Whilst I think it's a very good argument, a very solid, logical argument, why would you want to compose an argument like that does you out of presence? Just seems a self-defeating argument. So I'd agree with you on the birthday. As for the Happy New Year, I say it with love and genuineness when I say it to people. I genuinely mean it. If somebody comes back with, yeah, Happy New Year, then it is your headline. But certainly from the the sender, it's not a placid headline. I genuinely mean it. I only say it for a short amount of time.
I wasn't indicting you.
You sod.
So I feel that you sort of had you were compelled to provide a defense when there was no offense, meaning that you're absolutely guilty of the offense.
No, I think it's an interesting point. I say to people, and I say it in the shop, and you do get two types of responses: people that are happy to hear it and wish you genuinely back, and people that just say it out of, like say, a platitude.
A platitude? That's my form letter?
Yeah. It's being polite, isn't it? You don't necessarily wish the person back. You're just saying it because people say it.
Exactly. Form letter.
Yeah. If your heart's full and bursting of love, anybody says it, you say it back with meaning. Surely.
So what you're saying is because my heart's not full and bursting with love, that I take everyone's Happy New Year as how I would take it if I would say it, because that's the only way I could see it. Is that what you're saying, Betty?
Yes. Yes. You're projecting, basically. Gaslighting.
Gaslighting? Well, you gaslight yourself.
It's a word, it's a phrase. It's that most people now in the woke community know about it.
In the woke? Who's in
Yeah.
the woke community?
Most of those people are gaslighting. So they should know.
We got into a big discussion on what gaslighting is, and it was really stupid for a real long time. I think Arwen was part of it. And yes, Happy New Year, Happy New Year, yeah, sure. That's what everyone's saying out there. It's too funny. Mostly Betty. He said,
I mean, haven't you been visited by 3 ghosts by now? Because they are way too late.
That's too funny.
Mr. Humbug.
Yeah, I figured that, Mr. Humbug. Yeah. Somebody said it's the Black Swan 3rd anniversary, correct? Thanks, Arwen.
Yeah, it's time to roast that bird.
It's time to roast them. You eat.
Yeah, you made my whole day like now down. It's like a big cloud is overhead,
Really?
and I'm really feeling. I'm not feeling it anymore.
You're
It's
not?
gone. Yeah, I might have been cheering you up, but you got a downer on me.
Well, maybe you'll stick around. Maybe it'll pick up for you.
No, you need to cheer me up now, right now, now.
What? I need to chimmy?
Cheer me up.
Oh, I thought you said chimmy.
Cheer me up now.
All right. How much you weigh?
That's a good one.
I knew I'd cheer you up.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So yeah, it's the Black Swan's 3rd anniversary, third birthday.
Well, good. What was the Black Swan again?
The Black Swan is just the Black Swan. It's a metaphor.
4.
It's not a 4. We're not golfing here. It's a metaphor.
It's a it's a metaphor for what?
Divergent Droid said, Kiwi really knows how to speak to the ladies.
That's why he's still in the closet.
Ebenezer Scrooge. I'm sorry, Ebenezer Scrooge. That's what's in there. Yeah, I knew you'd like that.
Yeah. I love it.
Sabina Springsteen Hassan Pfeffer. I forgot all about her. Oh, man.
Too funny.
Yeah. Now, what were we talking about? We were talking about Black Swan. Yeah, it's a metaphor for an argument.
Okay. What's the argument? And why are we celebrating the 3rd birthday of it?
I don't think we were celebrating it. Arwen, obviously we weren't celebrating it because Arwen just printed it off and reminded me that it was the 3rd anniversary of its birthday. I wasn't celebrating. I was just making a statement of fact.
Yeah. Well, is that also when you celebrate a birthday, stating a fact? Your life for the so many of years?
It's so twisted with you. It's like spinning an abacus. You never know what angle you're going to come off on.
that's women for you, because without women, you guys would only go one way.
Yeah, happy.
To the grave.
Happy and financially viable.
Without any accountability.
I wasn't going there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I thought I had a nice comeback to that also, right?
Oh, you did? You were trying to goad me into saying it?
Yes, to the grave, I said. Only one way you could go, to the grave.
Oh, I thought you had something about the other 2 facets.
Well, you can state them.
Well,
Get your masculinity going.
It doesn't. It just came from a movie from what's his crank's name? What's his name? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Nicholson.
Jack. Yeah, I was thinking Jack. Jack Nicholson. In that, I can't remember the name of the movie. Anyway, somebody asked him how.
Jack, hit the road, Jack.
Not Hit the Road, Jack. It's Jack Nicholson when he was in the movie, and somebody asked him, "How do you write women so well?" And he goes, "Well, you think of a man and then take away reason and accountability." I thought I freaking died. I was out, down for the count.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I think that women are the most discriminated people group.
Oh goodness gracious! That now we're on.
There's so many words that apply that are being used by guys to sort of confine us into a certain thing that men think that we are. And again, nowadays they don't even know what a woman is anymore. Even the women don't know what women are anymore.
See, now you're going off on the red herring fallacy tangent away from your first point.
I wanted to enlarge the topic.
I know you did. Exaggeration is another one. I should have called Jack and put that one in there too.
Yeah. Well, you know that the brain of people are like left-brained and right-brained.
The brains of people are left-brained and right-brained.
Yeah, so you have left-brained people and right-brained.
Do they still have right brain? Do the left-brainers still have right brain?
Yes, but the thing is that with women, the left and the right brain are connected. And with men, you tend to think more on the left side of your brain.
So because they're connected with women, the left and the right, women tend to think more with the left. That doesn't make any darn sense.
No, men think more with the left. That's what I said.
Men think more with the left. So what does that have to do with the connection with women's brains?
The thing is that the left brain stands for logic, boundaries, rules, and that sort of stuff, right? And the right side of the brain is more spiritual and more creative.
Yeah, I didn't ask you that.
Yes. So I wanted to make a
How
point.
do you validate that?
I wanted to make a point of that it means that women have a more like broader spectrum.
Broader.
I'd have to pick on the categories there. Now, my understanding wasn't more spiritual; it was more emotional,
Spiritual
and
too.
creative.
Spiritual too.
I agree.
Oh, that's a dodgy strap-on.
That you ate the apple.
There was a woman that she was a neurosurgeon or a neural something with neuroscience.
Neurotic.
No, and she had at one point she had a sort of aneurysm in her brain, and at the end it turned out to be on the left side. And what she sort of experienced was that there were no boundaries anymore, so she couldn't do certain things anymore. She couldn't recognize like numbers, and because she had to make a phone call because she was sick. She was like having an aneurysm, or not an aneurysm. How do you say that? A clot in the arteries, or I don't know the English word for it.
Right.
But something was wrong with her brain, and yeah. So she saw strange things and that sort of stuff because there was no boundaries at all, and she couldn't decipher what was on her phone so that she could basically call someone. She didn't know the numbers anymore, right? So and she later analyzed it, and she noticed that it was in her left brain that it happened, and that it's part of all the boundaries, the logic, the reason, and that sort of stuff that goes on in that section more than in the other.
Are you saying that if a woman's brain has a disconnect
No,
from the
the
male
man's
side?
brain has a disconnect with their right brain.
No, this woman that had the aneurysm stroke, yeah. So part of it locked off from her brain the access to the male attributed side of the brain.
Hmm.
And when that happened, she couldn't even use a phone.
Yes, she didn't recognize the numbers on the phone, and she had a sort of a Rolodex with people. She didn't even recognize the names of these people. So she had basically she did call, but she had to sort of compare the symbols to symbols, and then eventually she was able to call, but she didn't recognize them as numbers. She didn't know what to make out of it at first. She's still on the internet. She's on YouTube. You can still like see what she's all about. It's really interesting what she said about that.
Well, you red herring fallised away from your point really quick. I'd like to get back. You said that women's brains that are connected, the left and the right.
Hmm.
Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
What's the connection? What's the bridge?
I think it's at the frontal lobe somewhere. There's the connection, but I mean, you guys like have a sort of a lobotomy. No, I'm exaggerating, but there is there is science about that where women have used both sides of the brain. I think they made these scans of brains, people thinking on certain topics and subjects and whatever, and they see the localization, that brain activity, that's more evenly with women than with men. Silence.
Is there a point to this?
The point is that you guys are good with logic, which is good, and you guys are good with accountability and all that sort of stuff. But you guys are like more short-term um, um, decision makers, right? So, and with women, that's we tend to think more long-term,
So,
and that's the difference.
oh, really? So you're more like big picture, and we're like small picture.
Well, the thing complements each other. You know, just don't think about that it is all wrong, right? But I mean, it's supposed to be this way,
What about
right?
Sabina Bruce?
Yeah, the exceptions to the rule. And it's also a spectrum, right?
Yeah. Cook,
Yeah.
bring me my Hassenpfeffer.
Whoa. When I say whoa,
I
okay.
mean, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got through that subject. What's the next one?
No, let me just give you an example of that, what I just said. Right? There was an experiment, if you can call it an experiment,
Probably can't.
where you had women and men, and they were asked to come in, and they said, the person at that office said, you can have $50 now, or 100 next week, right? And you know what happened was that most of the guys took the money immediately, and most of the women said, "Well, I will come back next week, because I will have more."
Is that it?
Well, it's significant in the sense that really
Scientific.
women are more trusting, but also more long term. To think, okay, I can have more next week. So it's more like in the sense of planning and thinking, okay, I can wait for the next week, right? It's long term. And with men, they say, well, okay, I don't trust anybody. I take my my things now and heck with it.
So you're saying we don't trust anyone now?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what goes on in a man's mind when he takes that money immediately.
Oh, brother, this is
I
weak.
would wait a week to see if I can get the 100.
Oh, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, and me, John, I wouldn't have the other hemisphere of my brain to be able to engage to think how logical it would be to wait a week.
Why wouldn't you
I
wait?
don't need the other side. It's pure logic dictates.
I'd like to see this. Well, hold on a second. I'd like to see this study.
It's done. I've never heard it between boys and girls. There's a little bit, but it's mostly this one is the interracial differences. As I remember this one.
Huh. Doesn't sound very scientific to me.
It's not psychology.
Sabina saved herself by adding an LY. Somebody was paying attention to that presentation. These nuts, you were paying attention. That's a good one. I'm surprised you remembered that. Okay, so moving on. Betty, unless you're not done yet, you want to continue down this train wreck?
No. No. I think I dug my hole.
Oh, yeah, you dug it deep.
Wise decision, Betty.
You do have the art and the skill of piling up some bullshit to support your red herring fallacies.
Well, you wanted less accountability. Well, there you go. I had to live up to the name. Woman.
Yeah. Too funny. It was good. It's good to be back and, with the banter and stuff. I kind of enjoy it. I missed it.
Sure you did.
A little bit.
As far as you know.
What about anything else? I've been hearing a lot of stupid stuff. Not that there hasn't been stupid stuff for the past 7 years, but it's getting, I don't know, maybe it's me. I'm getting more cynical by the day.
Oh, whoa.
Haven't you felt that?
Yeah, I've had that dark cloud.
Not a dark cloud. It's just cynical.
I see clouds hanging overhead.
No,
But what do you do to get rid of the cynicalness?
Who said I wanted to get rid of it?
Oh, you want to be more cynical?
Depends.
On what?
On how cynical I want to be.
Yeah, but what would that sort of borderline be? Can say it that way.
What borderline between what and what?
Oh, well, the cynical and total depression. Total breakdown.
I don't know. It's just like I
Do
said.
you need an intervention? Do we?
No, I think the people I'm listening to need the intervention.
Do we all trust in canned soup? No soup for you.
That's Sabina. These guys remember. Are they saying that out in live stream? Yeah, that's these nuts. He's really took these. He's got it. He's all over this thing.
Hmm. You must have made his Christmas.
Yeah, it certainly appears that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
So
just
that was a little video of 15 minutes, wasn't it?
her video was 15 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah. What did you make of it?
2.5 hours. It's just
Oh.
that's just the way it goes. I don't put a time frame on them. It's just I'm just reacting.
I believe they have changed the YouTube rules again, haven't they?
For what?
I think that if you say now offensive words or harassment to others or whatever, that your video gets demonetized.
Harassment? What do you mean by harassment toward the,
Well, like you,
like I just did with you?
That's something that I could consider, yes. But no, more like you harassing her on her own video. I mean, that might come over as
Do you think that was harassment?
well, you called her many names.
Like what?
Whatever.
The daft cow?
Well,
I
I don't know if it's true. Maybe didn't you have to agree to the rules again? Maybe, or maybe that doesn't come up on your computer. Maybe your computer cowers away from there.
Yeah, maybe it does cower away from it. I like that word cower.
Me too.
I'm going to start to incorporate that with other people because they cower. So we got 3 words to remember. Cower.
Yeah.
I can't recall the other 2. I know there's 2 other ones.
Is it not indubitable?
It's not
Bill
indubitably.
Cowell, coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You can't even say it. It's indubitably.
Yeah, I need to see it written down so that I can sort of see it in front of how I need to emphasize it.
I wrote it out to you.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
Oh, brother. Okay.
Hmm.
The other one was sorely vexed.
Oh yeah, the vexed.
And what's
Something
the
that
other?
makes
What's the other one?
We need to go back to Ballbusters.
Yeah, I can't remember it.
year.
Jeez, getting old.
Yeah, it was a good word too. You need to make a list, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but then it starts to get contrived and stuff, so I want it to come off.
Did they say that you run a script?
Who are they?
The bombers.
If you run a script, it's not going to be too beneficial to you if you run a script and other people don't have the script. I don't think they've thought this one through either. Shocking.
I remember you saying that, yes.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I think they just hated it when you had everything already there at your hand, at the grasp, right? So you really knew what you're talking about, or immediately you had it at hand, right? Citations, and pieces of knowledge.
Yeah, but then I would have to know what they're about to bring up or talk about.
I understand, but you already have it, so it's not for you that you have to come up with it somewhere. I mean, it's already there, but they perceive that as having a script. Maybe they're so predictable that having a script is not that it's easy, right?
I don't know. It's just with any of their claims, they just make shit up on the fly, right? It's just superficial. There's nothing there. Once you dig right beneath the surface, the house of cards implodes. It's just the same thing over and over and over again.
You know that AI is also like the same way.
You know, I just heard something about AI with Nathan. Did Nathan do something with this AI?
I did.
Huh?
It was in Dutch. I did. You have a site that's called chat.openai.com, I think. And then you have to log in. Of course, you have to log in. And what I put in is write a review on Flat Earth where Flat Earth is the truth. It didn't. It just came up with the narrative, and also something with I think it had to do also with the atmosphere. Also, I made a question. How can you have an atmosphere next to a non-atmosphere, right? And it gave basically the conclusion that that can ever happen. Can't happen, right? And
Sorry,
it's
sorry. I just remembered the word zest.
zest. Oh, yeah,
Sorry
yeah,
to interrupt. So it's zest. I'm sorely vexed by your zest, and indubitably. Go ahead. Sorry.
and cower now.
And cower. Yeah, that's. I might drop that one. I'm not that impressed with it anymore. But go ahead.
Because you cower away from that.
It's only been 5 minutes. I'm quite cynical on cower. So go ahead with this AI thing.
So, well, it basically sort of contradicted itself.
Wait a second. That's the same thing Nathan was talking about. I was just watching. That was on today's show.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's correct.
Well, are you Nathan?
I'm just telling you that's correct.
No, not you. It's Betty. Are you Nathan?
Am I Nathan? No.
Because he was just talking to. I'm telling you, he was saying the same things today on his show.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
This
Let me see.
is very strange.
Yeah, but AI, it's gonna be it's very scary, you know, because now the youth, the children at school are using this to make book reports, all kinds of reviews, and all kinds of like how do you say that in English? You have to make a sort of a report on something, you know, in so many words, right?
Well,
Describe in your own words. So many words, that sort of stuff, you know, and they just use this open AI thing to just get to that.
Thanks. Divergent Droid just put Nathan's new video. It's in chat. Nathan's new video. FE versus Open AI Part 1 Gas Pressure, Betty.
No, that's cute. Well, what did I ask the AI in Dutch, by the way? But how can an atmosphere exist next to a non-atmosphere or a vacuum, right? And then, well, it says that the atmosphere sort of refers to air or that's around the planet or a heavenly body, while a vacuum sort of points to an area that is fully emptied of air and other molecules or things. So that all explains a lot about that. And then I ask it, is there evidence that on Earth, is there evidence that there's a vacuum exists next to a non-vacuum? And then it says there's no evidence that a vacuum can exist next to a non-vacuum. It contradicts.
When did you do this?
I don't know if there is a date here. I think it was 2 days ago, maybe, or maybe yesterday.
Did you speak about it to anyone? You didn't tell me this.
No.
So you and Nathan arrived at this AI at the same time without any connection?
Yeah. Because I didn't even know that Nathan did this. I think I hear it now.
That is creepy.
Synchronicity. Also a nice word, by the way. Or serendipity.
Yeah, that's what I thought when you said that. Serendipity.
Yeah. Well, wasn't the typewriter also invented by two different people on two different continents?
Brian did it 2 weeks ago. That's what Nathan said. That's too funny.
So also Brian, see it's amazing.
So you're saying this is a website?
Yeah, I can give you the link. It's called chat.openai.com, and you have to log in, and then you can ask it questions and to make a report of a review, and then it scours the internet basically. But it gives the narrative of what that OpenAI is instructed to. If someone asked it to give a review of the new Avatar movie, but it didn't do it because Avatar is now just out new, right? So they won't give you a review. But on the old Avatar, they do. You get a whole like little conclusion of what the whole thing is about.
Huh. You're going to have to, send me that link. I'm not going to sign. I don't like logging into shit.
It's a website basically where you log into, and it's interesting to see how it works.
Okay.
I mean, if you're aware of how it works, you can at least know that some people don't come up with stuff themselves.
Nathan had a novel idea of pulling his video up.
Oh.
It didn't take me to that. I got the link, but it didn't take me to that video. Hold on a second.
Is that video?
I got it.
How long is it?
I got it. 5 minutes and 23 seconds. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me go ahead and let some idiot put commercials and ads on here. Hold on. It's going to be delayed for you, though, okay?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll go on mute.
Yeah, just go on mute, guys. I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Yeah, if I'm off deafen, you can know that I have heard it all, right? So.
If you're off, I'm not looking there. Hold on. Turn off, for God's sake. Okay, let me get this screen up where it's nice. That definitely is not nice. That off. Now let's try it. Okay, that looks much better. All right, let's check this out. I haven't listened to this. We'll just roll into the unknown together. Oh, so you type it in. So there's Nathan. Is there any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container? Hopefully you guys can see this, right? And the AI, I suppose that what this is. Yes, it is possible to have gas pressure without a container. Gas pressure is the force exerted by the collisions of gas molecules with the walls of the container. All right, I'll just let it go. Hopefully, like I said, you guys can see it. I might make this bigger. Let's see what happens there. That's much better. We'll just roll. I'm not going to comment. I'll stop it here because it's going really fast. I know you guys can't read it. I'm trying to keep up with it. I've seen so many contradictions so far. It's preposterous, but let's take a couple seconds here so you guys can read this. I will go ahead and stop it because it's so fast.
As I'm reading it, QE.
Go ahead.
It's just spitting Google facts.
Yeah, it is.
And certainly when I watched this this evening when I got in before the show, this bit, because I'd heard them chatting about it this afternoon. As I see it, you see, it demonstrates how intelligent AI is. It's not. It's data mining.
Yes.
And it's putting these things together. If you look at the support it gives, it Google quotes, particularly in terms of maintenance through gravity to create a non-barrier barrier. It never supports any of that with anything.
Yep.
Me, very clever at probably retrieving stuff from the internet. But has it any real intelligence? No.
No. I was going to say that it's just artificial, no intelligence required. Because it's contradicting itself all through here, but I'm going to...
That's the point I was going to make. It's not intelligent enough to realize its own contradictions.
Yes,
now,
exactly.
Yeah. We know lots of people like that.
Yes, we do. If the gas is not contained in a container, it will not have any walls to collide and therefore will not have gas pressure. You're finished.
See, that was an imitation of conspiracy cats.
Yep.
Without the balloon, there can be no pressure. It's those contradictions. It's happy to make them, but not link the two.
Well, Nathan's going to catch. Nathan's going to catch him and then put it to him, I think. Let's see. Whoa. These gases, this is from the AI. These gases are in constant motion, colliding with each other and with the walls of the Earth's atmosphere. What the fuck is that? Oh, my God. Do you see it? It's right here, guys. These gases are in constant motion, colliding with each other and with the walls of Earth's atmosphere. Well, the walls of the gases are colliding with the gases. Unbelievable. I'll continue. Hold up. I'm trying to get his question. Where'd it go? Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. But gravity isn't a force, and you are now, I think he meant to say contradicting yourself. They're not, he's not contracting himself, Nathan. You stated that if the gas is not contained in a container, it will not have any walls to collide with and therefore not have gas pressure. Therefore, you will not have sphere-shaped air without containment as you have no walls around the pressure we are experiencing. And it is claimed the sky is a vacuum. That isn't possible. Gas must, as you declare, have containment to have pressure. So we must have containment to have gas pressure, and gravity isn't a force or containment. So please, can you now conform your contradiction? As it is not possible to have gas pressure without the walls of containment to press upon.
I like the leeriness of that response. No, perfectly good point. I apologise if my previous responses were unfair. I'm sorry you don't understand.
Yep. That they weren't unclear. They were just contradictory.
Contradictory.
All right, Nathan's question back at him. Please, can you explain this further contradiction of collisions of the gas molecules with the walls of Earth's atmosphere? Air, sphere, a shape, isn't a wall for gas to collide with. Very nicely done. This makes no sense and demonstrates your failure as intelligence. Your contradictory claims are idiotic. Here, back again with, I apologize if my previous responses were unclear. I was using the term walls to refer to the boundary of Earth's atmosphere. That's not a wall. You need to define. You should ask him to define a wall. It's the same responses. He's just regurgitating. The weight of the Earth's atmosphere, this is another big problem right here I just want to bring out. See, AI and all the numpty boltard dipshits, they think of the atmosphere, which is a paradox. They treat it as one entity, and it's not. It's an anisotropic, inhomogeneous mixture of gases. So that's one big problem. It's not one identity. It's a mixture. It's just not one thing. So that's one big problem. From Nathan, the boundary of Earth's atmosphere, air, atmo, and sphere, a shape, isn't a boundary. You are making no sense and continue to claim gravity as a force with a pull when gravity hasn't been a force since 1915. Einstein's bending of a conceptual medium known as spacetime is not a force to hold gas in a sphere shape, nor is space-shaped air, atmosphere, a boundary or wall to press upon. In summary, do you concede that you cannot have sphere-shaped air without walls or a boundary to press upon? I apologize if my previous responses were not clear. Same thing. AI is just regurgitating what he said previously. It's just like a wiki parrot. It's not answering his question, in other words.
It's almost like it's purposefully avoiding it now by repeating the same point, which is the contradiction. But when the contradiction is pointed out, it recites the same point that, yeah, I agree. It's not a real boundary. It's a boundary created by gravity. That's what I said, but it never knows on then to support that.
Yep.
It's only got... It's got nothing to support it in Google, has it?
No.
So it can't cite anything because there's nothing to cite. Just
well,
the fundamentalist belief.
If he does cite something, then he's screwed. Because it's going to...
No, it's not a he, is it? It's an AI. It's a search engine, right? So it's made that claim. Now, I would suggest if you ask it other questions, it will give you... and you ask for citation for that.
Ooh.
And this is about got to.
Ooh, that's a good one to ask for citation. That is a good one, Adam. So Nathan says, please define boundary, then explain how this word has any context with sphere-shaped air in a sky vacuum, which violates the second law of thermodynamics. It's not saying anything. It's going to repeat the same thing. It's saying it's becoming thinner. That has nothing to do with what he just asked. Here we go again. These gases are in constant random motion, colliding with each other and with the boundary of Earth's atmosphere. You know, the boundary of Earth's atmosphere. You don't collide. Gases don't collide with a boundary made of gas. This motion creates gas pressure. No, it doesn't. Not according to your first definition. This is a jumble-filled cockroach of contradictions. There we go again. The weight of Earth's atmosphere is treating it as a single identity. Let's see this. As for the second law of thermodynamics, this law states that the total entropy of a closed system. Here we go. Yeah, he's just pulling this from nonsense. You should ask him what a closed system is. I'd be here all day with this thing. That's why I'm not going to do it. Oh, entropy is a measure. Oh, stop. Entropy is a measure of disorder or random. No, it's not. We already went over that thousands of times, that it's not. So this is just a mindless wiki parrot. This is not what entropy is. It's not order or disorder. It's the furthest thing from the truth. Fucking clown. Wiki, Discovery Channel parroting Muppet. Now we got artificial non-intelligence parroting the actual Baltard's arguments back to us. Fucking clown. The second law of thermodynamics is a fundamental law of nature that applies to all closed systems. Really? What closed system? Earth's not a closed system. Including the Earth's atmosphere. He thinks the freaking Earth is a closed system. Oh, boy. Hydrologic cycle. Holy shit. Oh, Nathan got him.
What makes every Stearns and Foster so incredibly
I know we're a bit behind.
We don't care about Stearns and Foster. Is this over? 1 second, Adam. Although I sleep on a Stearns and Foster.
This thing's turned into the rumpus. Just look at that last response. As a result, the second law of thermodynamics does not necessarily apply to the Earth's atmosphere in the same way. Yeah? Rumpus made that statement. Sure, he did. That thermodynamics doesn't apply to the Earth.
As a result, the second law of thermodynamics does not necessarily apply to the Earth's atmosphere. He just said it did. The Earth's atmosphere up here is not a close. Oh my God. Let me go back a little bit.
Yeah, we have a baller AI, huh?
Yeah, that's what we got.
And now you can see how deceptive this can be, this thing. I mean, the kids will think that this is a intelligence, right? And then it just spouts out all these wiki narratives that they want, the powers that be want to circulate. You will never get the truth.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's not that you won't get the truth. I think it's got to. I'd be interested with some non-important, in terms of heliocentric importance. So some contradictions that don't have anything in the game of anything that the powers that be would want, and see how it responds there. Would it present and point out the contradictions? Because this is what I'm saying. It's either ignorant to contradictions or ignoring the contradictions, if it's got any form of intelligence, or it's just a very, very clever, like I say, Google search that's able to go through a number of documents and construct a response based on those documents to your question. And if you look at what Nathan's doing, he's trying to narrow the argument, but the AI isn't recognizing that. It's giving the same response time and time again.
There's a contradiction within the same. Listen to this, folks. The second law. This is the AI. The second law of thermodynamics is a fundamental law of nature that applies to all closed systems, including the Earth's atmosphere. So it's saying that the Earth's atmosphere is a closed system. However, the Earth's atmosphere is not a closed system. And the next breath. Yep. This AI is a numpty baltar dipshit. Yep. Just conjured right there. There it is, right here. This is a belly laugher. That's all for that. All right, back to regular scheduled programming.
It's honest, though, in terms of what it just purports out. Like I say, there's no intelligence to me. The contradiction, it is like listening to an anti-flat earther.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. So there you go, Betty.
Yeah.
That was weird, though.
Well, my questions were a little bit like, basic. And I didn't ask it questions in the sense of also to reflect on itself, because I thought, well, it won't reflect on itself.
You're asking an AI to reflect on itself?
No, I think that Nathan did that. I didn't. I just didn't. I just stated or asked it questions, and then afterwards concluded myself that there are contradictions in there.
Oh, so I see. You weren't. I
wasn't expecting that the AI would like suddenly say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong."
It's not that, Betty, but you would hope that it would point out the contradiction that John's intelligence instantly saw, that I saw. You know, that we've all seen it. If it's got a level of intelligence, it should recognize the contradictions in the statements of fact that it's supposedly giving you, and say, "Not, I'm wrong. However," because it's not wrong. Yeah. However, there is a contradiction in these two bits of evidence I've given you. They contradict each other. It should be able to recognize that it said the Earth's atmosphere fits this, and then it doesn't. It should point that out and recognize it itself instead of just talking like a baller, genuinely. Which is to move past it. Make it as a statement of fact, lay it out there early on, it does and it doesn't, and then move forward with your rhetoric, which is what it did.
Yeah, well, it's fun.
I think, unfortunately, we've probably unleashed. If you're your bog standard retard anti-flat earther, all they've got to do now is type at Nathan's questions or whatever when they come into debates, and they'll be handed a much better response than any of them could generate.
Yeah, but they'll all be contradicting.
They always have been. Like I said, that bloody machine reminded me of the rumpus, especially the second law doesn't apply to the Earth statement. That's exactly what the rumpus did. If that's bringing them up to rumpus level, you know, which is clear contradiction.
So that's artificial. That's artificial non-intelligence. So Betty, you were trying to avoid confrontation with the AI.
Yeah, I'm sort of like confrontational. How do you say that? There's a word for that. That you cower away for that.
Cower. That's it.
Not a coward, but I don't know. I'm not a confrontational person by nature. It's just you that brings up the bad in me, you know.
You're lucky I was eating an orange then, because I couldn't get over. The orange is so good. I'm telling you. In fact, it squirted all over me.
Oh, poor baby.
I'm not complaining, but I couldn't get to the mic fast enough when you said you're not a confrontational person. That is a bunch of horseshit.
Yeah, too funny.
Listen, I told you I was eating an orange. That means the rest pick up the conversation. Yeah, you get
Oh,
the
no.
hint.
So now,
I got
now
smoked salmon in
we
my mouth. So sorry.
the thing is that we are so adjusted to your like rules and regulations that we don't tend to
What the hell
do
you
stuff
talk?
that we are ordered to.
What the hell are you talking about? Rules and regulations.
It's almost like you say, "Go say hi," so we don't
Oh,
do
brother.
it. Yeah. It was. I have it also up. So maybe if we get together someday, we can try this out sometime. Yeah, you might like it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It just gives out the same algorithms that you have on Google, right? If you say I want to search flat Earth, and then you get all the debunked, the hoax, and whatever, and then a lot of nothing, and then you get the shadow banned and the sort of neglected flat Earth videos and stuff. You know, it's. I think it goes to the top of the list and brings that up, and it doesn't have any skills in the sense to reflect on itself or to learn from that. You know, it just learns from the already algorithm.
You know what I thought Nathan was going to do after one of his comments?
Well,
How do my balls taste? I was waiting for it, right? Just to see its reaction.
Well, it seemed to be up to now because it was called idiotic and stuff. It's very like cordial, right?
That's what I was waiting for, because it'd have been hilarious either way. If it was just very nice and polite after he said it, then I'd lose it. And if it reacted, I would also lose it. So it was a win-win.
I think we get the sequel to this video. We should demand a sequel to this video.
I think Nathan has it, but he's coming out, and it's coming out in different iterations in a couple days. So
Yeah. I think it was an all-nighter with the open AI. Like a date gone bad.
So since everyone's eating, so what this isn't artificial intelligence at all. What it is, it's hooked up to Wiki Discovery Channel, right? It's got a database with keywords, and and all it does is just regurgitate those words, just like it's a very quick idiot baltard. That's what it is.
Yep. What's the epitome of tardiness?
The epitome.
The epitome.
Man, this orange is so good. What I did was there was a mess of oranges in the kitchen, right, on the fruit stand. And what I do is I go and inspect them, and I pick the orangest of the oranges. And I set it down on the kitchen table, and I asked my wife. I said, "Listen, halfway through the show, I want you to go ahead and cut me up an orange, and I want it to be this one." How you like that?
Well, that you pick out the best for yourself, and the rest can do with the scraps.
They're not scraps. It's not like they're rotted oranges set out on a fruit stand.
You said that
right?
you had the epiphany of the oranges of oranges.
It's the orangest of the oranges, yeah.
Yeah, so someone else must have lesser oranges than you have.
It's a lesser color orange. Now, I haven't associated the color of the orange with the sweetness. I just take it as red, that if it's oranger, it's sweeter.
You take it as red or orange.
He entangles himself even more. Too funny. Are there any pits like seeds in the orange?
No, no
Okay.
seeds, but there's a lot of connective tissue.
Ah, yeah. Do you
So
take that off, or are you eating it all?
I'm not eating the skin. I'm eating the connective tissue because there's a lot of fiber in it.
Yeah. But sometimes it's tough, right? The skin of the parts.
Yeah, the connective tissue. Sometimes it depends on what type of orange. Probably in the lesser oranges, the lesser colored oranges, it's probably a lot tougher.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Got to
Well,
keep.
it's good to see that you take the best for yourself.
You got to keep going. I'm down to a bite. So make some shit up till I get back.
How large is that orange, by the way? Come on. There's a phenomenon going on. See Brenda in the. Is there Brenda here? Nope.
I was going to
Adam, are you
mention
eating
earlier,
too?
Betty.
What?
I was going to mention earlier, I've just found that spooky that you and Nathan have done this at the same time.
Well, it might not be just at the same time.
No, but
I got introduced by the TV. The television was on television, and also by a neighbor on Christmas Day. And it took me a while to get that link to know what it's all about. And I tried it yesterday afternoon, I think. I forgot to mention it to Kiwi yesterday when we talked, but yeah, I thought let's see what it says. It was in Dutch, by the way, but it doesn't make it any more different. It just contradicts. It's very interesting because this is now a thing amongst the kids, right? They can now use this to get book reports. They don't have to read the book anymore. Just put that in and they submit that as a book report, and hopefully they get a good grade. But they the instructors or the teachers notice that these kids don't make any writing errors. Um, so when they don't make any writing errors, then there must be something wrong, right? Because it's too perfect. So basically, these kids sort of, when they do make some mistakes, they are getting a higher grade now than when they don't.
so get it to do it, and then go in, put some spelling mistakes, and grammatical errors. Love it, clever,
Yes,
and then
yeah, you can adjust, and that's what kids do. I mean, that OpenAI wouldn't do that, but we as kids or we as people would do that, right? We would adjust. We would get around to stuff, be creative. That's that right brain thing that I was mentioning earlier on.
you saying I'm a woman,
Partly.
or I've got a right side of my brain.
It's a spectrum, Adam. We all have
Got it.
feminine and masculine sides to us. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that you can change gender overnight
Well, I'll yeah,
or sex.
no argument there.
Because I don't like the word gender, anyways. I mean, the word gender was just a word that would describe for language, right? We have in French, you have le and la. That means it is a masculine word or it's a feminine word, right? And that's it. That was gender. But they now made it out to be something more than that. And now people think that they can be anything else. It's ridiculous.
You can be anything you want to be, right? Anything in the world. Yeah?
Yeah?
Just don't ask me to believe it.
Exactly. Don't take me in your lies, in your stupid world, right?
You can dress as an orange.
Yeah. There
You're
are
an
kids
orange.
at school, Adam, that say, well, I sort of see myself as a cat, right? And cats don't respond to questions, so they don't answer the questions in the teaching room, in school room.
That's good, right? My Archie thought he was a transformer, a robot. Yeah? Called SPR. He used to do that, right? At no point did I think, right, let's get him in, get him fitted with some mechanical arms and legs. The boy's clearly a robot. That's how he's identifying this week. Yeah? He'll be a dog the next week when they're that old. You know what I mean? I say you can be whatever you want to be.
What if it's one of your relatives that says all of a sudden So suppose that your wife would say, "Well, come on, I can't live with myself this way anymore. I want to be a man. From now on, you call me a man's name, and I'm going to dress as a guy. And eventually, I want to transform to be a guy." What would you do?
Well, other than pointing out the obvious that that wouldn't make her a man,
Mm-hmm.
being obviously emotionally devastated,
Mm-hmm.
is that the bit you're after? Just my misery, or
But wouldn't you try to reach out to her and say, "Hey, what what makes it out to be this way?" And don't you know that it might be more devastating for you to go into that transition? And
it's not a transition.
yeah, she's going to go make a real
Transitioning from anything.
transition.
You're not a butterfly. You're not.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
You're
it's
going
like a
through.
car.
You're going through surgery.
I remember Nathan in conversation with Brenda one time, and he basically said something about cars, and he says, "Well, if I have a Volvo car, right, and I remove the outer plating and I make it into a Maserati car, is it a Maserati?"
Uh, It's like taking the Volvo car and smashing it up into bits. Yeah. No, you still got the Maserati. You still got the Volvo. Yeah. Now you can mold it. You can. It doesn't matter what bits you put in. If you put different bits in, that's different, isn't it? That's the trouble. These
Well, the thing
parts are
is, the
very
motor.
specialized.
The motor represents the DNA, right? The DNA of the car is the motor.
Okay.
So the
If I've
DNA motor, and then you just change the outer like parts, but that doesn't mean that the inner part is still that Volvo. It doesn't go faster, doesn't go
I've
better.
if I've got a Rolls Royce and on the front there's that big silver angel thing, sticking out, sticky out bit. If I stretch it right really big and turn it into a hole, a big cavity, and make it stick into the car, it's still the same thing. I've just remolded that same thing. It doesn't make it the thing that it's wanting to be, an
Exactly.
air intake. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not an air. It never was. It's a remolded, sticky out bit.
Yeah.
Just that I think is the reality. But like I said, I've got no problem. Never had any problem with anything like that. Every individual's their own choice. The
Yeah.
only time it
You
ever
say
bothers
that
me is
when
when
it's
I'm
your wife.
told. I was just saying this. When I'm told that I have to think like that. That's when I have an objection, and that's when I.
I agree. I agree. Totally agree. But I mean, you say I don't care about it when somebody does it, right? But when it's a relative of yours or someone that is close or next to your heart, right? Then it will affect you, right? And shouldn't it be so that everybody would be close to our hearts and that you would be caring for everybody, not to make those mistakes?
What I mean by that is I wouldn't. It's not for me to interject on their life choices. I'm not in that position. It's not
Well,
my.
I
It's not
know.
my. Yeah.
I know there is a guy. There was a girl who was on TikTok, and she went into the transition. She wanted to be a man, and then after a couple of, well, maybe months or years, or I don't know, maybe 1.5 year in on the transition, she basically sort of was like rethinking the whole thing, and she reached out into that community, the LBTG community, and they basically attacked her for her wavering or her sort of thinking, okay, overthinking that she might have made a wrong decision, right? She could even go die somewhere because nobody cared, and they just told her in her face, but basically, just go away and die because we don't need you, right? That's not love, right? It's not a loving thing. So it's the other way around. I think we need to warn people that there are people that come to realize that this wasn't the good thing to do. Nowadays it's made too easy, right, to do this, and it's an act of love to keep people from doing the wrong things to themselves, basically protect them from their own selves. So doing nothing doesn't help the world one bit. It makes people more miserable.
20 years ago, must be. I was running. It was in an Asda store, so I'm running the pharmacy team there. and there was a lady that was transitioned. Wasn't for me to tell her choice was wrong. Now she looked like a really bad drag addict. I encouraged the girls to, chat and talk with her. I gave her employment, and I treated her with respect. At no point was it for me to tell her her life choice was wrong. Someone very close to you, I agree. You would hope to reason with them before that choice. But if you encounter somebody like that, that's their choice. And 20 years ago, there was.
Have they made these choices on the grounds of a strong foundation?
Oh, this is the point. 20 years ago, yeah, she had. She'd lived all her life and made this choice after he'd had children and they'd grown up and all this thing. This is something that he decided. So it wasn't for me to ridicule or offer any advice in that. It was to treat them with love and respect like any human being should do. But this Jenny never ever told me. She always said it was within her. It was her issue. That's how she felt. It wasn't something that I should accept, even that she was a woman. Just treat her with respect. That's all she ever asked.
Okay, but then let me ask you something else, Adam. So now your wife says to you, I don't want to live anymore. I want to have an injection that ends my life.
How?
Is that, do you then have the same respect and love to just say, okay, it's inside you what you want to decide, and let's do this?
Does that make me happy? Do I agree with it? Dealing
No,
with
it's not about
relatives
you or happiness.
and
I mean,
how
it's
you.
about what you think is good or bad to do in that situation.
What I think or what they think.
So you would assist your wife to have then sort of an injection that ends
Why
her
would
life?
I? Well, unless she was dying and it was euthanasia, like the end of life
Okay.
kindness.
So why in this respect you would help out?
I didn't help. I didn't say I'd help anybody like that, and I don't think I'd do for feminine. I said when
you would
you
stop her,
encounter
right?
very rumpusy. Let me finish.
Yeah, but
So
I want to know, you would stop her, right?
I can't stop her. I would do my best to reason with her to not do it.
Okay.
And unless there were signs that she was clinically insane, how could I stop her?
Okay. So why wouldn't you do that when she wants to be a man?
I would.
Okay.
But I couldn't stop her, could I?
That's something else, right? But you would at least make an effort of it to stop someone, right?
In all cases.
Yeah. Why would you do it with your wife, and why wouldn't you do it with some stranger in the street when you know that that might not be the best decision to make?
Do you know that?
Yes, I do know that.
You do.
Yeah, because most of these people, most
You
suicides
know
happen
that.
when people
I
have.
didn't say 99.9999999% that it's obvious
Yeah,
that that's not a good idea. You know that.
I really know it. I know that this is wrong
And
to
how
do.
would you validate that knowing?
Because I've
Them. For
seen.
them. Not for you, for them. How do you validate that knowing for them?
Well, I can just tell them, right? I can just tell
Oh
them
God!
that this is a decision,
Wow.
and it will. They
You know
will.
what's best.
That
What
will.
happens if you know that the vaccine was a good thing to do 2 years ago? What if you knew that then?
I didn't know that. I did know that it was wrong. I didn't want to have it.
What level of support have you got for your knowledge now that's different to what people knew then? What substantiates your knowledge that that's the right thing or the wrong thing for them?
Because God created me in a way that is perfect, and I don't need additional things.
He created you perfect.
Yes, in a way, yeah.
Okay. We're not talking about you, are we? We're talking about them.
Betty, don't answer that question.
What?
Don't answer that question.
I don't even heard the question.
Can we transition away from this?
No, we don't agree with transitioning. Yeah, please do.
Too funny. Is that orange done yet?
Yep.
Okay,
Hey,
good.
teach you to have an orange again, won't it?
Yeah. Well, Jesus.
Don't say Jesus that way. If you
Oh,
don't really follow
brother.
the strength and power.
Getting tedious.
And I'm a sister, not brother.
Sure.
Until you transition.
I identify as sister.
Until you transition.
Never happen. It'll never happen, even if I don't have any accountability. Or reason.
Now,
wonder
on a
why
lighter
is
note,
it-
though,
why
Betty,
is it-
would you
Wait a
like,
minute.
Betty?
Wait a minute,
Go
I
on.
want to know, why is it that most men want to be women nowadays?
We're transitioning.
We don't.
No, I don't understand.
We're transitioning. That's another stereotype fallacy. Number one. Number two.
No, that's
I'm
not.
part of
That's
most
true.
men, and no.
Yeah, there's so many more men that want to be women than women want to be men.
Oh, brother.
And I just wonder about that.
The past 40 years,
Oh, brother.
I've had women wanting to be men. Now, whether that meant genital change or gender roles in society, we've had that. So,
I think
and
that
all through that time, men have always dressed up like women. It's
I
a
think
British
that-
part of British culture. We're in panto season still.
I think
Nothing
that
wrong with dressing up and pretending and that, yeah. These are very different things to asking people to change their view of reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing, having fun. They're very different things to demanding and castigating people because they don't think like you. And that's what's happening with this. It's wrong for you to think that there are just two genders. It's wrong. It's evil of you. They're the issues I have. That is wrong. Because I don't recognise the way you want to be special, which denies reality, objective reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey everyone, I heard a good.
Thank God it's Brian.
I don't know, but I'm going to comment on this thing, so you may not be too happy in a minute.
You're not transitioning from the transition.
No,
Brian, would you turn it inside out? That's all we want to know.
No. Well, a guy made a very good comment. I saw the shorts video over Christmas there, and this guy made a very good point. He says, when people go for the surgery, the transition surgery, how many options is there? You've only got one option, and that is because there's only two. So if you're a female, your option is to transition to male. If you're male, your option is to transition to female. So there's no this thing that they are this nonsense where they come up with all these different genders. It's complete rubbish. You know, because within the surgery where someone does transition, they can like if you're male, you got one option. If you're female, you got one option.
You came all the way from Ireland to tell us that?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I did see something years ago. It was, I don't know what, Maxim magazine or Loaded, one of those kind of magazines years ago. And sorry, one of my cats is here. And there was a woman who dressed up as a guy in a suit and put on a mustache and stuff like that, just as a kind of the professionals, let's say makeup artists and that, the kind of Hollywood people. They've done up this girl, and she went in and spent time around Wall Street. Now, Wall Street wouldn't be exactly the roughest of men. And this girl talked about her experience afterwards, and she said she couldn't believe how cold the atmosphere was. Sorry about the atmosphere word around the men. She said she couldn't believe she was getting into a lift. She's so used to men kind of allowing her to walk into a lift first or out first, or that kind of stuff. Whereas when she was there and they saw her as a man, they were like intimidating her and pushing her out of the way and giving her dirty looks and physically even kind of like threatening to her. Well, I'm not saying that they beat her up or anything, but there was like there was the option that they could hit her, and she never experienced that. Where she always only experienced men at the time being kind of more courteous, opening the door, that kind of stuff. That that kind of thing. So that was a big shock for her when she did this. That world is
I've seen
different.
that same thing, Brian. I've seen it too. A woman being more masculine, and then she dresses up as a man in a man's world, and yeah, I've seen that too. And the thing is that I've heard back in the days also about a woman dressing up in men's clothing, and she noticed immediately that there's less smiling among men towards one another than there's when you're a woman, right? When you're a woman on the street, you get smiled at more, even if you're ugly or whatever. Even though that might be happening, I mean, people still smile at women or be more cordial toward women.
That's how easy you've got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. But it says here,
Yeah.
But that's based. I'm not being funny, right? That is based outside and is in denial of equality. Yeah, there's no threat like that in society to women from men who are men. But it exists there, and there's a level of respect and behaviour that's called because that potential threat. It's like gun carrying. Yeah? But that.
Yeah, but tell that to women that are living in Iraq and Iran that have to wear all these veils and.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and not able to go to school and educate themselves.
Where is this?
What is this?
This is what you're told on the telly again, isn't it?
Yes, there are people in Afghanistan nowadays not able to go to school.
Yeah.
I've
in
heard
America.
and seen
Loads of them.
documentaries where women weren't allowed to go to a doctor because the doctor is a guy. And female doctors there aren't there because they can't study, because they can't go to the universities. So how can these women be treated?
That sounds like racist propaganda.
You know what? I'm going to change the title.
Sure, I would say that too.
Hold on. I'm going to change the title. This is going to be debate. Feminist versus Adam.
Happy New Year.
I'm a feminist. I like, if you look at feminism in terms of what feminism was, that 60s, that Germaine Greer. Yeah. A woman can do that. Whether she should do that, wants to do that, what's the purpose of all of our lives? These are the questions that are surfacing now. But I'm a feminist in that sense. I totally am. Not a modern feminist, but a proper feminist in terms of equality of rights.
You think I'm a proper feminist?
Yeah, I think you're probably more old school feminist than modern liberal woke feminism, which is not about rights. It's about
ding,
power.
ding, 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 ding.
I don't think that you know that I'm not really a feminist anymore. I just know the argument.
Yeah, you have a friend, right?
Well, if you're not a feminist, then be quiet.
I was a feminist.
Be quiet. Men are talking.
Too funny. Okay, go on. Your worshipfulness.
Yeah, you're. It wasn't required. But you are pretty, aren't you? Such a pretty little thing. So pretty.
Oh, talk to me that way, please.
Well, what do you want? So this is the question you want, and women want. They want to define everything, don't they? They want to set the rules. Now, I'm not a feminist now, and I know I want that bloody door opening. Yeah, but I don't. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
no.
I know.
Yeah. You talked about it earlier. Yeah. We all know that at the seat of every home, the woman rules in terms of the majority of stuff. There's a balance, a natural balance that works.
Yes, I agree.
That's being disturbed, and to me, pointlessly. And it's being disturbed with this pretense that in the past, women used to get beat up all the time. Men were animals. You slap your woman around. I don't know any of my family that ever. I was brought up based on the standards of my parents, based on their standards. Yeah, there was none of that. These things are brought in under lies and pretenses to disrupt the family, to disrupt the way in which we work together, despite our differences as men and women. And recognizing that difference is important. When the prime thing of men and women being together is to bring up children. and bring up good people. And that's what they've achieved over this time, is to disrupt that method of bringing up good people.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that they bring this up as something that women need to be more self-sustained. You have to basically have your own income so that you are not dependent on your guy and that sort of stuff. But that was sort of the benefits sort of it, right? But I don't think that the whole feminism movement did do a lot of good in the end for women. You know, I think it's no, I don't think that it brought us many good things.
I think the Rockefellers where I remember reading that they were some of the biggest promoters of that back in the day. Because, as everyone knows, it ended up, and everyone's well aware these days, ended up with 2 people from a household paying tax. You know, so
Yep,
which
true.
kind of suited them, you know.
Two paying tax, Brian.
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Well, two members. Like, sorry.
No, go on, Brian.
I'm just saying, like it ended up with the man of the household and the woman of the household working and paying tax. So they had 2 workers instead of 1, and both paying tax. And then
that's irrelevant to them. If I'm being honest with you, you might.
I understand where you're going to go with it. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. But the importance is, money doesn't exist to them. Time and control exists to them. So if you're going to do something, we have to make the choice. So the first thing is to convince the family unit that a woman should be able to work. Out they go, and then they move the goalposts so that the average income requires, over 30 years, has required 2 people to do. Why would they want to do that? It's not for money. What I talked about earlier. It's about so that the only influence on those children are the state in the schools and the TV, so that the parents don't. I was blessed, and my wife had a fantastic career. She's a much cleverer person than I am. But we wanted to have a family. We struggled early on, because the shops weren't working well, you know, and we were new in life, and we made that choice that if we were going to have children, the only people that were bringing them up was her, because it was going to be me that was going to work. And men take that sacrifice, and we lose. Women forget what we lose and what we don't see and what breaks us when we hear these stories. You know what I mean? And but you do that as a family, and why? To bring up good people, and that's what they've taken away from us. We're no longer bringing up our children. The state brings them up.
Yeah, and even at an earlier age nowadays, huh?
But supposedly, sorry.
Go on, bro.
I was going to say, supposedly.
Sorry,
I didn't get that. Have you got something to say, Neil? I'll go after you if you want. Well, I just go there. Yeah, supposedly from studies have shown that even single parent households, which is mostly single mothers, that kids from single parent households are more likely to end up being drug users, doing prison time, you know, basically all around negative, less likely to do well as far as go on with education, go to university, things like that. So people who are coming from single parent households, which is also the destruction of a family unit, are much more disadvantaged, because most of them are from most people of single parent households, as we all know them if you come from an ordinary background, are from an ordinary background. You don't see too many single parent households in kind of more upper middle class and wealthier society. It's always the working and poor class that will have single parent households, that kind of thing. So supposedly kids that come from those single parent households, especially the ones without the father, they're much more likely, the boys especially, are much more likely to end up involved in violence and doing prison time and drugs and all the rest of it.
That's a fact. Cosentino household, it's the woman raising them children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's no one better, is there? to raise them and instill this.
But they
No,
convinced the women that they could have a different role. They can also be a firewoman and a police woman and go into the military and that sort of stuff. All these guys sort of like
yeah,
profession, right?
and I could be daddy daycare, right, if I wanted to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But
yeah,
that's not where my skill set is. And the point I
exactly.
make with what Neil said in terms of what Neil said is, there's no one better on this planet, in my opinion, to raise my children than my wife. And I will work my arse off to provide her and them boys the resources for her to bring them up to be good men. And that's what I've done.
That's beautiful. Yeah, love it.
Well, I think, although this might sound a bit go on, Betty. Sorry, I cut in on you. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that men and women have different roles. That doesn't mean that they are not equals in a sense, right? But you have to have one sort of leader at the household, and that might be better to be the guy who is outside and providing for the family, and inside the house is the woman and having the love for the children and giving them a good like household.
Yeah.
woman.
In front of the children,
Yeah.
I would insist, and a couple of tensions early on with the kids, that I insisted on that ultimately, if you've got some, we mustn't argue in front of the kids. If I say something, you contradict, and I won't do it to you, we discuss it afterwards. You don't have to, there doesn't need to be a chief. They have to know they've got two parents that don't argue, that are unified. But my wife being a better person than I suppose the times where I've failed in that mission, she would secede in front of the children, then kick the shit out of me when they've gone to bed. But yeah, they need to know that there's love fundamentally there behind them, but there's also rules, kids. And part of the dad's role is to be the ultimate arbiter of those rules, as painful as it is. So when you get in after a bad day and they've played mum up, you're the shit house that has to say, nah, no PlayStation, none of this, no, don't behave like that to your mother. And maybe they form in their own heads how a hierarchy, but realistically for me the strength is we're a team, me and Marie. I'm probably the weaker part, certainly in a family, in terms of the family unit. Because there's no better person in the world, in my opinion, to bring them up than her.
Yeah.
And
And it's also what she feels, right? Most women, after they get the babies, even though they might be very ambitious or whatever, they still feel that sort of tug on them to be with their kids after they're born, right? To be longer at home and taking care of the baby. They all feel it, but they might fight it and not sort of. And women among each other are very harsh. I mean, they say that they can cook very well, right? But in their hearts, they feel that tug of that little baby that they don't want to be waking up at 6 o'clock to bring it to a daycare center and then go off to work for 8 hours.
And this when they talk about choice, okay, if you really had a choice, so we just talked about how economics are constructed to make sure you haven't got a choice. Yeah, your choice now is which daycare you put your child in. Yeah, because what you don't have a choice in society now is to maintain the fact that 50 years ago a man could support his wife and his children in a home, yeah, and feed them, and they had a choice of who would bring their children up. That's been taken away. Those empowered women, powerful, used to the income, no longer have a choice what they're going to do, or very few of them do. Like I said we made the choice to risk it for a biscuit, yeah, and that's what we were going to do. I don't think that choice is there. The choice is where you stick your kids, not whether you get to bring them up or not anymore.
Yeah, sort of a mission creep that they pulled on us, didn't they?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because
but how can we go back from this situation back to where it was? I don't think that's possible.
Well, of course it is.
Yeah, how?
What, you want that summating now? I think there's a long road to go, but it's
I like solutions. I mean,
The states are a good example of how it's harder over here, because we don't have a gun, ultimately. But in the states, outside of the gun, you see what's happening. It's up to the people to get together and do these things. The Republicans aren't winning because the media says anymore. The Republicans are winning despite what the media says because people are getting off their arses and standing up against the system. And it's low level because we're just talking about the intricacies of a third world voting system in the greatest power on the planet, apparently. You know what I mean? But the only way is for us to come together. Always been this way. The only change ever in society is when we come together, when they're scared of the masses. Just like we did at the end when we had enough. Yeah, a year or two ago, there came a point where they couldn't push us anymore, and they stopped, which is a clever psychological ploy. You can get in there somebody's face until they say no more, and when they get no more, that's when you back off. Look at Canada, no more. That couldn't have gone there. That had to diffuse. It's the same here. But look at what we've lost in those 2-3 years in terms of civil liberties and how they'll behave moving forwards. Today, the BBC's coming out with crap. Let's put masks back on. Even though they spent the past 6 months saying how they don't do this. After saying they did do this, but didn't do that. But, yeah, these are just control systems of how they work. So the only way for me, Betty, is we stand together strong. Not virtue signaling like BLM, yeah, but actually affecting change. And that starts at the ground level, sadly.
You know, I do think that also men had to suffer alongside with the feminine movement. I mean, women suffered different aspects of life than men. I think that is also an attack on the real leading man, leading his family man, right? The family man in particular.
Attack on the family.
Yeah, but the most guys don't want to have a family nowadays. They want to game.
Yeah, they do.
wanna go after the computer.
No, that's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean,
No.
and they don't know how to lead, and they don't know how to be a leader of their families anymore, right?
No. Women want no.
Yeah.
Totally the false. If you look at divorce statistics, 90% of all divorces are instigated by the women because
Yes.
they're
You know
not
why?
happy.
Because the guys don't lead them. They are like
No.
little kids that have been taken care of. They married their moms.
No.
They want to be
Those ones don't get married.
By really literally doing everything for them, and they coming home from work, and still the woman has to work and do the kids and do everything else, and then there's no leadership from the man at all, right? He spends his money on drinks and booze and whatever, or games.
These men.
Yes, there are a lot of these sort of types of men.
I know, and there's all these women, right, that don't have a job. The man comes home and his tea's not on the table, and they say, "Well, it's not my job to do it."
It goes both ways.
Hey,
No, it doesn't, though. That's
stop
the point.
rumpusing at him.
What the hell? So it's always the woman that did it, huh?
Yeah, let him get his.
Yeah.
Let him get his.
Yeah,
now you're gonna play the victim.
Yeah, because I am.
No. It's a good point. It's a really
Because
good
I
point.
am.
That in the past, yeah, but no. I think if you look at disruption of the family unit now, I think the majority of stuff is unrealistic expectations from women.
Well, where this all started was like when women couldn't vote and women didn't have the option to have a career and stuff like that. Now, okay, there was a time when there wasn't careers for women, let's just say. There wasn't like IT careers and careers in marketing and stuff like that. Like careers, there was just like factory work. That was it. Do you know what I mean? And so, yeah, so there wasn't really careers for women. The world has changed a lot. And I think in a lot of it, there's a lot of it that is good. I'm not saying it's all there's a lot of it is good. A lot of changes is good because we have to get away from the whole industrial revolution type attitude. But the thing about it is there's nothing wrong with saying no, women should be able to vote, women should be able to work and do different jobs and careers, but it was used in such a way where you end up having a lot of women, I think, that listen to other women a lot, and the women that they're listening to are very unhappy women. They're listening to friends and influencers who are very unhappy, or they're listening to influencers who are doing very well, and they're in a position to speak a certain way, but they're in a very fortunate position. So it's easy to speak that way. You know, it's like, it would be easy for me to say, sure, there's no big deal, just turn up for work every day in a factory. I mean, what are you complaining about? If I didn't ever have to do that, if I had loads of money and didn't have to worry about doing it, it's easy for me to say it. But if I had to do it, then it wouldn't be easy for me to say it anymore, because I would find out how difficult it is to turn up and do this boring job every day and only barely make enough money to pay the bills. So there's a lot of influencers out there that are female influencers that are either very unhappy, and when I say influencers, they don't have to be online, they could be friends or associates, women who are associates and women who are friends of women, or they can be influencers online who are promoting a completely false reality that only certain women will get, the same way as only certain men will get it. You know what I mean? It's like, if you know, not every man is going to be Cristiano Ronaldo, and that's just the way it's going to be. You can't expect to have his stature and his wealth and stuff like that. So, you know, it'd be completely unrealistic if every man wanted to, like, couldn't understand why they couldn't have the life that Cristiano Ronaldo, I can't say the name. You know what I mean? Why can't I have that? You know what I mean? I deserve that too. You know what I mean? I'm leaving this relationship because I should be like Cristiano Ronaldo. Unfortunately, there is a lot of women out there who are getting blinded by the idea that they can be Kim Kardashian. You can't. She's a unique. That's it. Her life is unique. You can't be that. That's kind of a once-off.
Hey, Brian, that's what we decided, that my wife was going to raise the kids, homeschool them and everything, and now it's up to me to support us. But the problem is, they made it in such a way that if you don't have two salaries as an income, you're not going to be successful according to what the Americans call successful. You know, a nice white picket fence and your own private home. It's not happening unless you have two salaries coming in. So that's the struggle. But this is what we chose because we felt it was more important that my wife raised them, you know, be home with them instead of babysitters. I didn't have to worry about my kids getting physically, emotionally, sexually abused. Nothing like that. I had peace of mind because they were being raised by my wife. That's the way it should be. But they changed America.
Well, they changed everywhere, Neil. Everywhere is the same. Everywhere is the same. Not like they didn't just change America; they changed everywhere. You know, that's the same here.
It started in America, though. America started with this nonsense, and the rest of the world followed.
Yeah, America are the biggest influencer in the world. There's no doubt about that. No one influences like America. There's no doubt about that. And the thing about that is that America has so many things that are a good influence, but the bad influences also translate as well. You know, maybe not as extreme sometimes as it happens in America, but it does translate over.
There was a time.
Neil, you know when you get on your deathbed and you look back on your life, and you think, I know, oh, sat now. And you're looking back on your life and you think, what are my achievements? Is the size of the house you're in what you're going to look at? Because I know since my boys were born, that will be my achievement in life. Them young men, be better.
That's all I have.
Yeah, and that's what we forget sometimes, and that's what society is geared to prevent us doing. Instead of encouraging us and being structured to achieve that, the best thing, It's designed what? So that you end your life with status at the cost of all the things that we're discussing that are really important in life. And it takes bravery for you to do that, you know. Took us. We are going to have to reduce our income significantly. Nathan's another one. He's so blessed. You talk about women, you know, he's so blessed that he'll get to see the things that most of us men on this panel here never saw. Never saw. And it's a wise choice he makes. Because when they grow up, which will be in the blink of an eye, you can go and make more money again after then. But you never get that time back. And that to me is the sacrifice that men make, fathers make. Laying floors, getting up at 4 a.m, Neil. You know what I mean? Missing breakfast, missing tea when you get home.
No, I agree. No, but that's all I have. I will be proud of that. I can look back and see that. Yes, that is good. I raised them up in Christian values, and I got good boys. I mean, if you compare what I expose myself to what my boys, I mean, the worst thing that they do, I mean, I can't even. I don't know if that's sheltering them. I don't know what you call it, but I'm happy that they weren't exposed to the nonsense that I was exposed to. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, well, I suppose the problem with that is that if you do start getting exposed to that type of thing, it ends up changing you, because you have to change if you end up being constantly exposed to it. You have no choice but to change, because you can't be a happy-go-lucky person and be dealing with that kind of bad stuff.
Yeah, but now I feel he's got wisdom now. You know what I'm saying? My 20-year-old, even my 17-year-old, they know the dangers of drugs. You know what I'm trying to say? They know the dangers of all these things, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Once they're not naive, like, I mean, once they have sense and they're not naive, they don't have to be tough guys on the street or survivors. They just have to be not naive and have sense and logic. They'll be grand. You know, they know.
Mine have got none of that, Bri. They're so naive. Their sense and logic is yet to come, but they're better men than I was at that age already, and that's the important thing. He would make a wiser choice, yeah, from a truer position of love than I ever would. Yeah,
Well, it depends on how you view naive, Adam.
No, what I mean by naivety is if they're young, they've not experienced things, they don't know how shitty other people are. Yeah, but when I look at them and the choices they make, the things they do, the way they interact, they're better men than I was at that age. They're more loving, and they're more respectful of other people, and that's what makes me so proud when I look at them with other folk, you know.
Well, see, the thing about it is this: people often, especially when you're a young man, you think that being streetwise and that type of thing, it means that you're not naive, and up to a point at the time you are. But when you look back and you go, wow, look at all those stupid situations I was in because I thought that I was wise. You weren't. You were a fool. It's like if you're bringing up lads and they may not know the badness that's out in the world or how bad people can be, but if they know that heroin is a bad idea, and they know that too much alcohol is a bad idea, and they know things like that are bad, and there's no happy outcome, because I've never heard of a happy outcome ever from anyone who was ever, let's say, on hard drugs. There's no happy outcome from anything like that. There's always a struggle. Do you know what I mean? There's always like, oh, I barely got away from all that stuff. There's always some struggle, or it's a disaster. So, but if they know that type of thing, it only leads to unhappiness, then that's more important than knowing how to deal heroin.
You know what,
I mean,
Brian?
or whatever. Yeah.
You know what? You're right, because my kids, they were sheltered as far as, I mean, I didn't shelter them deliberately. It's just the way it happens when you live upstate and your wife decides she's going to homeschool the kids. You know, the same kid she couldn't get to do homework, now she wanted to homeschool. But I was good with it. She did it. She did a great job. They're all, they're finished. The second one's finishing up, and the little guy, he's still got a way to go. He's 12. But I was able to crack a bottle of wine, and my son's 20 years old, and he had some with me. You know what? He didn't like it. He said, "Oh, I don't like it." I said, "Well, wine is, you got to drink it a little bit. You got to appreciate what it is." But I was glad that he didn't like the taste of it. But I was able to have the wine with him, not like I was exposed to it. At 14 years old, hanging out in a bar and drinking beer with your buddies and going home and the room spinning 900 miles an hour.
My kids are more grown up than me already. As a kid,
That's true.
alcohol was part of proving you were a man. So proving how much booze you could drink was like, important. My boys, they'll have a beer. They'll have 2 beers. Archie, who's 15, because he tried a Southern Comfort neat on the rocks. He got really cocky after half an hour and wanted another one. I said no, but I've always wanted him to try it.
But Adam, I was telling my son, you probably like Southern Comfort. If you don't like the wine, you probably like Southern Comfort. He's like, "What's that?" I said, I'll give you a little taste one day.
Good stuff, that. Dash of lime, a little bit of grated ginger in there, freshly grated ginger. Oh, lovely drink. But there are a lot more, like when I was, Leo, he's about to turn 18. So I'd been sneaking into pubs, you know what I mean? After football and stuff like that, you go and have a few pints. He'll go to a coffee place with his mates. It's very different, the kids.
Yes, it is.
They're very different, and that's not a bad thing, because
I noticed that myself. I noticed it myself. Like there's let's say young lads around me, and they might be smoking a bit of weed or whatever, but most of them aren't getting carried away. They're not really going past weed. They're not doing loads of drinking. Like I remember when I was 12, I started drinking when I was 12, and I'm not talking having this up a drink. I'm talking about drinking, and so that's when that kind of thing when if your lads are in their mid to late teens and they're starting to kind of have a drink and a couple of drinks and they get a bit drunk and they leave it at that or whatever, they're learning moderation. That's the best thing. They'll be fine. They'll be absolutely fine. They know heroin is a bad idea. They know crack cocaine or whatever other things are a bad idea. If they know about moderation and they have goals in life and things they want to do and they know the direction you have to take to do those things, they'll be fine. It's when you don't know those things and you're young, and you're just doing that and you don't care, and that's when there's a problem. That's when 20 years goes by and you go kind of, wow, what happened there? That kind of way, because you spent all that time not doing the right things. So once they're not trying to drink at 12, you're doing okay.
I think that's why I'm proud of my boys, mate. Oh, it's not just those little things. It's the way they approach things. But you see the wisdom. Now, hopefully you've imparted, or through the family unit, you've managed to impart it. A lot more wisdom. My mum and dad had to work, yeah? Dad was a welder. Mum was a bookkeeper. Both met in the fag factories in Nottingham, you know what I mean? So they were put in that life, so we had to find our own way, which is not a bad thing as Generation X's. We seem to have a bit of everything compared to most of them. But I look at my kids, they don't do all the things we used to do. I know that sounds like a really old man, but it's very different lives they live, and naivety they have. You know what I mean? It's...
Yeah, once they have goals and they are learning about things in a gradual, moderate way, they don't feel the need to do stupid stuff. As I said,
Did you
Go
say
on, Lee.
both your parents worked as well, Adam? Both your parents worked as well, Adam?
Yeah.
Both
Mum.
mine too. My mother, well, she started working later in the 70s. Like it was always my father. Then my mom took a job, of course, because they wanted a part of the American dream. And let me tell you something, it was not good. One of my brothers, very young age, the old Italian lady next door was watching him. Unknown to the rest of the family, he was being emotionally, physically, and sexually abused from the time he was 4 years old till she watched him, what, 5 years? And that's bad. And I said I will never, never allow that to happen to any of my children. I will not be in a position where my kids are being watched by a stranger and who knows what's going to happen to them. Destroyed his life. And then when he got older and got married, destroyed his life. He's actually sitting in prison now. I spoke to him in years. But that's the end result. It's vicious. And it all happened because my mother had to take a job. Sad, but true.
We were blessed in that we had my mum's mum and dad living literally on the same estate.
That's different. That's a whole different
and that's
thing.
the point.
I agree.
So
if you could do that, that's great.
I came home to another mother, grandma, older. You know what I mean? So I came home to that same family unit, and it's about that to me. And that, go back to the first point I made. This whole thing is about that destruction, about bringing up good people, about sharing love and showing what love is in a family unit. You can destroy that. That has repercussions for all the effects you want in society, which is ultimately to control us, to make society bad, to impose laws that restrict your freedoms, that control you. Why? And the state has power, and this is all that we're seeing, down to the level of that it's operating at. And this is look at the plan. I don't like get conspiratorial, but
it's intentional though. You're right, Adam.
Well, it's historic. This is my point. It's not conspiracy what I'm talking here. I'm talking historical changes and the effects on society. Yeah? Whether there's some hidden force behind it, or whether it's some misguided freedom, that feminism and all of these things are the way forward for our society. I think to summarize this point, hopefully we've kind of highlighted that they're not. The best way to a good society is to breed good people. And the best way to breed good people is to have their parents in a solid, recognized family structure, bring them up and instill their morals and their values into them.
Funny, because all the Asians by me, everyone I ran into, the successful ones, it was the grandma that watched the kids. They were able to send their wife out to work because they had the grandma and grandpa home with them. That's the difference. If you don't have that, I would not recommend giving them to a stranger. I don't care how long you freaking know them.
Well, you see, there's a difference in Britain. I don't know whether it is the same in America, but if you look at the Indian community that live here, the Muslim community, it's not the same in the black community because they're very Western in that family structure still. It's dysfunctional, like the white Western. But if you look at the strong families you see, they still have that patriarchal hierarchy within the community, which is something we've lost, something I noticed that was lost in the white working class over the estates, that respect for your elders, that's gone. And yet the strongest communities you see, and my my best mate from uni that we run the business with, he's Indian. And part of the reason I was saying about making sure we made that choice was looking at the strength and the support and how they looked after each other with the people that you love and trust that are bringing up your kids. And that's something that was gone. And I'd say something that was there for me, even though mum had to work. We still had that family structure that made sure, I hope, my morals were maintained, that brought me up to be a good respectful gentleman, however that is now perceived. I used to use that title with pride, and I think what we've chatted with Betty is that's been brought into question, that title. But to even say you're a gentleman was to imply you're sexist, racist, or, you know, or certainly sexist, misogynistic, you know? And there isn't. There's merit in that title, and it's a way of behaving with other men as well. It's what they eat at.
Hey guys, good discussion. We're gonna end it.
No, I want your opinion before we do.
No,
on all of that.
I think it was a good discussion. I agree with most of everything that you said. Yeah. Have good kids, man. The mom's got to be watching the kids.
Agreed.
Moms or the extended family, grandmother. Yeah, one or the other. No in between. All right, guys, good one. We'll catch you on Saturday. I haven't made up my mind yet on what we're going to discuss. We might go back to basics. Seems the subject has been coming up here every now and again the past few weeks. We might head back to basics. So hang in there, and we'll catch you on the flip side Saturday. Ballbusters, QE, out.